welcome to today's video. We are back at it working on the Miata. So, before I started filming, I was basically spending a whole lot of time planning stuff. So I have the hydro handbrake in. We have painted the mount with a epoxy paint, and then I was trying to figure out what I want to do with the lines. Since we're running an inline kit, we basically just need to tap into one of the stock lines, but I wanted to make sure it was kind of done in a clean, logical fashion. Since we are doing an inline setup, we're going to keep a lot of the existing lines. So what I've decided on doing is we're going to actually tap in up here, as it's probably the cleanest way to do it, so I don't have a bunch of brake lines running around the car. So we're going to essentially tap into here and have it come up. And we have these two holes. I don't know what they're from, but they look like they're OEM, but they are not in a logical location. Anyways, I'm basically gonna take the lines, have them pop out of here, go through here, and then I'm gonna drill two holes in this region here with some pass-through fittings. And then that should get us underneath, and you're probably never be able to see it, but basically up into that whole mess, where then we will be able to essentially follow down by the heater core lines and then get us over to the handbrake. And more or less, I just kind of plotted it out and created like a really kind of gross looking sketch with how long each of the lengths are, because then I can go online and just order all the fittings and all the pre-made lines at that length. So now it's gonna be a waiting game. I'm gonna have to order all those parts, probably second guess what I want to do and overthink it and try to decide if I want to do some other design. But for now, that's where I'm going with it. And then after that, I started looking at my window switch design. So kind of didn't really film this, but I designed this little bracket that, come on, let's focus. There we go. So I designed this little bracket really quickly to essentially hold a stock window switch. And then I'm gonna mount this battle area down here so that I have essentially a window switch in the trunk. And the reason for that is, for those of us that hit trucks fairly often, this thing not wanting to focus, but you end up with the situation where when you load on a trailer, there's a trailer fender that's right there. So you generally can only open the door about that much. So it's been fine with the current interior situation with the bucket seat and everything. I can pretty much just stick my foot down through here and climb out. But when I put the roll cage in, I'm gonna have a big bar coming through here for the door bar, and that's gonna get in the way. So I'm gonna essentially hook that window switch up to always have power so that I can keep the window down. That should help with giving me a little bit more room to help crawl out of the car. At least that's the idea. So I mapped all that out, found out I don't have enough wire to do it. So since I don't have enough wire to do it, I'm pretty much stuck on that. So I haven't written down how much I need. It's gonna be a ton of like 12 gauge just to have enough power ran to the harness in order to do that. So we're kind of waiting on that one as well. So just hunting down the list, I think the next thing up is I'm gonna wrap this center bar of my dash. I have some red suede that I want to wrap it in. So I'm pretty sure there's just tabs on the back side, and then these things just pop off. And then we can give it a shot of wrapping it. I've never wrapped anything before, so we will see how that goes. All right, so I got them all out. It was pretty straightforward other than realizing that it was pretty well glued in. I kept hitting all of the tabs and getting all these tabs open, and then it wouldn't come out. And so I just finally had to say screw it and keep pulling on it, and then all the glue let loose. So I've never wrapped anything before, so I'll probably start on the small piece rather than this large piece. But yep, soon that'll just have like a nice red stripe down the middle. Cool. So I got this piece done. Couple key learnings. I shouldn't have done this on my workbench because it is now dirty as heck, and I'm gonna see if I can get that cleaned off. If not, I'll redo it. Not a huge deal. This material, whatever I got off of Amazon, is actually like really stretchy, so it made it super easy to actually like get it over. I feel like this is a pretty complex shape to kind of get it into, and it seemed to go around just fine. Then my other thing, I need to do some research on how to do these corners, because essentially what you end up having is you have a whole bunch of material that comes together, and I was trying to fold it over itself and it really wasn't doing too well there. This side I got relatively smooth by just cutting the excess off and then bringing it together and kind of making a smooth transition. Like, I feel like if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see it if I took a little bit more time on it. This one, on the other hand, I cut it a little bit. I don't even know how I did that. I think it was the material was stretching, so as soon as I clipped it, it just moved back. So there's definitely that. So I'm going to see if I can clean this up. If so, I think there's the flaws in this I think I can get over, but I may just redo it in the end. But I'm glad I started here and not on the big one, because I need to put a towel down or some shit. Cool. Keep going. This is gonna look pretty cool. So here we go. We got it all wrapped. It may look a little funky because this was separating at the top and I never ended up fixing it. I just like got excited and put it all together. But cool. Yeah, I'm gonna throw it in the dash. May have to end up taking it back out though, because this stuff apparently gets dirty really easily. For the most part, I kept this side clean, except for I think one spot like right there where it like kind of touched over here. So I may have to just be careful with the dash now, because if I lay it on the ground or something, this thing's gonna get like disgusting. But sweet, pretty sick. I kind of want to do something like an inlay a pattern or something into this, but I don't have a good idea of what I would do. So I think for now I'm just gonna put it in like this and just see how the interior looks. But I'm really excited. This is some non-performance related, just kind of like hot boy looking stuff to hopefully spice the interior of the car up to, maybe match the exterior a little bit. Cool. All right, here's the finished product. So yeah, now I have basically a red stripe going down the center of it, which looks a little out of place now, but I think once we have like the cage in there and painted and the e-brake and all that, I think it'll tie it all together. I'm planning, I need to order more material, so I wasn't thinking of it originally, but in the car, that kind of lines up with this pad here. So I'm probably gonna do the same thing to this pad, and wrap that all red so that the red continues all the way across. Cool. Gotta see what else needs to get done. All right, guys, quick little update since I just kind of started working on stuff. So the window switch thing that I was talking about, so I've got a connector in here for that. I found this wire, it's 4-color, which makes my life a whole lot easier. And have it loomed and ran all the way up to here. Oh man, where'd it go? That should be hanging out somewhere up here. Yep, there it goes. So I have basically this red and black wire is going to be power to, I'm going to rewire all the radio nonsense that was in here. Basically the wideband ran off that and something else. But it used to have a wire that would come up through here through the center console, and I hated doing that. So now that I have the dash all out, I can basically put a connector up here. So I have a 2-pin connector for that, 4-pin connector for my little window switch idea. And then I'm gonna make a secondary harness that goes from here all the way down for the window thing that will basically tap into this. So that I'll be able to raise and lower the windows and everything. So that's pretty much where I'm at. The only kind of issue I ran into is now I've got all this kind of situated. I need to go put power and ground to these wires here, and I don't have anything to put a fuse in right now, so I need to figure out how I want to do that. The old setup is really sketchy. It's just like 2 spade terminals on a fuse, but I am hoping to kind of get away from doing stuff like that on this car, especially since it's all taken apart. I'm going to try to do something a little bit better, sleeker, better, all that jazz. So I think since I'm kind of stuck here, I'm probably going to start on that whole harness situation, as that's probably going to be the more complicated half of it. So we'll see where that goes. It is not very pretty. Kind of not stoked on how it came out, but soldering old wires together is never a good time. So I kind of did the best I could. Yeah, so I didn't really care for how it came out, but I ended up just electrical taping over it so that it's solid. But some of the solder joints don't look the best in there, so hopefully that doesn't come out and bite me in the end. But now I got a pretty good pigtail that I can run through the dash, and then stick a connector on the end of it, and that'll get this side, kind of the dash side of everything done. Sick. All right, so I think this is where we're gonna leave it for today. I did a little bit more work. So at this point we have kind of the harness set up here from this Deutsch connector. We have a Deutsch connector added on to my window switch, which will be mounted in the trunk. So that will, be under there. I haven't put it under there because I still have to figure out my power and ground situation. I need to figure out a good solution for fuses. I don't have, I only have one of the inline fuse things left, and I really don't care to use them, so I'm going to use something else if I can find it. So I'm going to do some research and see what I can get locally. Ground's pretty simple. There's just going to be a ground by the battery. But that's gotten routed through, tucked up, And then it goes up to here. So then we've got this 4 wires for the window switch, and then this 2 wire is just going to be battery, like positive and negative, 12 volt and ground, to anything I want to wire in. Namely, I'm going to rewire my O2 sensor and such. To run off that, I just need to put a relay up here somewhere. But the rest of that harness is tucked up behind here, goes down, and then is jumpered into my window switch. So once I get the other side of it done and the window switch mounted, I'll be able to put my windows up and down from the trunk, which would be pretty cool. Should help me out with getting in and out of the car on the trailer. But yeah, I feel like this is kind of drawn out a lot longer than it should have, but it's more or less just been what today has been. But so I'm just gonna go ahead and end it here. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.